usually we respect the site first, the context, proximity, surroundings, the brief, right? So eventually we also got to see a lot of the site topography and a lot of many things come as an ingredient before we get into the what we think we're supposed to do in the site. Okay, for this project, Verdel, of course the site proximity and the location is very near to the Bukit Timah Natural Reserve, and with the site context, we can't deny that we're going to use something in line with nature. We'll dig a little bit deeper in terms of the metaphoring of the principle of senses. We are thinking more further of how will you feel about forest and Bukit Timah context, and how you walk into the woods. Actually wake up in every mornings, have a senses of walking and strolling in the forest. Okay, it's a senses insight that actually is more intact and more tangible rather than we get the form of the forest, which is normally a lot of people like to do. So we try to do it in a different way. So in the Verdel, it's more on the senses and very calmness of the forest. Is how we are inspired by the nature in a different way compared to the rest of the project around here. A landform is a part of the most, actually I have to say, is most important thing before we start off, right? After the site context and the surrounding, which is inspiring us on the nearby area. So the site is a part of the how we are making the project look so different from the rest of the project. If you have a 10 site, of course the proximity and the shape of the site itself, or even though the level which is being so different, you can actually input the same and similar concepts into a different site, but you can get out with a different product as well. So the site itself is very important in terms of to make the project being so unique. Verdel landform is quite interesting. The terrain itself is quite different in terms of the front to the back. So it's how we are getting a different concept of the how we are terrain this in different formation in terms of the landscape architecture element. So we have to say that we are not actually playing with terrain, but we are sculpturing the terrain in the sense that with the recall of the forest, which is beyond the senses, very calmness, the way we carve the terrain out of this sculptural landform of this Verdel is very straight cut. Verdel is not a project which is being so curvy in terms of the forest exploration, but it probably is a feeling of how you're getting the calmness out of the straight line. The carving of the landform also very, very unique of this Verdel. It's not like very super straight cut like that. We still got forest pixelation kind of the feelings because we inspired from the light which is filtering through the foliage of the trees, so which is cast it out on the floor, right? Later on, with that senses, we actually cutting the terrain into the pixelation of the wood and probably the sunlight which is filtering through the leaf of the trees. The site planning of the Verdels is very interesting, I must say. The way we are terraining the site context is giving the space of different pockets and creating a lot of the courtyard spaces. With that sense, we are even bringing the experience of how you're walking and detach yourself from the city life, right? Walking through the foyer, the arrival area, and just going through the different courtyard and detach yourself, and eventually you just find yourself as a senses is very connected to the nature. Verdel project has inspiring from the nature, so after we study more closer to that and deeper, we have found out the concept of very sand design of the Japanese called forest bathing. It's a kind of you want to connect your sense together with the nature. Okay, that is come about of the holistic picture of this project context. After that, we start to think about how the senses in different areas being so intact to the nature in different zoning. So, for instance, you got the very kind of calmness in the woods. Is also reflect in the different zoning. You got a bit more of flickering light over the shaded of the trees, over the street, or over the floor Also, we also reflect these senses into a different zoning. So that's kind of the holistically how you interact yourself with the forest in the forest bathing concept in terms of the Japanese metaphor. Okay, the different zone of this project is detached and connect together by the different senses, and we call it different zones. Let's talk about the arrival zone first. We actually having the kind of a big portal to receive and receive all the incoming flow when you're driving in through the kind of the very nice environment to enclose yourself, so you can detach yourself from the outside and prepare yourself and the senses before you just go into the next zones. The veranda clubs is the next zones. The space here is actually quite open to sky. It start to be a little bit more reviewed how the senses of the projects on the second step after you detach yourself from the city lights. So when you come in, veranda club is probably having a nice waterfalls. Okay, you got a sense of the water, and you have a very nice calmness of the very nice big waterway in the front of yours to just reflect the sky over. So that's kind of just give you a readiness of after you are arriving to these zones. You will see the sky is probably intact to the water, and you can hear the water sound before you just go to the next zones. This is how we actually prepare the senses for the next zones. Next zones of this project, after you're getting into the senses of water and the calmness of the reflection, you will just go straight all the way down to the lower floors. So it's how we actually diving you to a next experience again as a different scenery of the pocket courtyard. So it's a way how we design and control the experience from the close to the open, right, and close to back again, and express yourself to the next one of the foliage. The foliage is the big waterway, which is the swimming pool itself, 50 meters. But the way we're carving this pool is not very kind of ordinary kind of setting. We are actually taking the clue of the shadow of the trees, which is casting on the floor and have the fragmented different texture, and we actually translated that into the part of the pool. So we got the very nice straight pool, and eventually you are starting to have a texture of the pool is being like a pixelation down all the way. So it's a character of the pool. That kind of the senses, we also have the forest bathing pot inside the pixelations, and we plant a lot of nice big trees over the places to give you a sense of calmness, and you see a lot of shadow and light filtering through the cloud of the trees. Then while you sit underneath and can hear a terracing water, so you can just sit there, okay, relax for a few group of member, but basically it's a part of the swimming pool as well. The gym design of this Verdel is very interesting. Okay, it is a nice horizontal glass gym, which is you look over to the foliage area. The concept of this is we are trying to expressing the horizontal line to go against the verticality of the tree trunk. Okay, when you just have exercising in the gym, right, you probably perhaps can see the thing in the very horizontal cut to just give you a very nice framework, not to see the building too much in terms of the tower scale. So we try to keep you back intact to the human scale level when you just be in the gym. But however, when you look out, you can still see a lot of water and probably a lot of the verticality of the trunk of the trees. And you look out at the forest bathing, the pot outside. So you can see a lot of activity happening outside as well at the same time. So at the same thing, we try to keep everything so calm. So horizontal line that we are trying to create in this project is very important. So it is expressing a lot of calmness. Wellness area in Verdel is very interesting corner. How are we going to finish our experience to this project is very important, because we going to bring the experience from the 1 to 10, right, to complete the senses and complete the whole chapter in the concept. We are select the finishing of the project by the wellness zones. Okay, so when you walk and strolling on the area, end up you will just detach yourself from the outside. So we pick this corner, which is a most nested area, most back corner, which is very very large. When you're entering to this project, you're just starting to hear a lot of water sound. Uh, the, the footpath is getting smaller. Okay, to make sure that your speed of life is getting slow when you come to this zone. We are trickling the water and transform it into the spa zones. Okay, which is this spa, we got a different setting and different corner in this area. We got the yoga corner. We have the spa pavilions. We got the reading pod. Right? We got the many things which is quite sensible for you to nest yourself. It's a complete senses of this zone is bring you up to the very nice finishing, right? So rather than you just come to the first zone and hang yourself somewhere, but we need to finish and ending the senses very nicely from the arrival pod, come all the way to the foliage zones, the gym, and we end up with the small corridor where you want to sit yourself and meditate yourself, have yourself with yourself over there, with a very clean, streamlined. Wrapping up with the foliage of the forest. Sky Garden of this project is being addressed as a very nice way. I must say is we are trying to load all the program which is party level over the rooftop, but not overly aggressive in terms of the usage. Because anyway, the senses is still part of our concept. So even though we got a lot of the fun and entertainment area, but the way we are designing it, circulate it, and zone it, and probably optimize the views to the Bukit Timah mountains is very key element that we are considering this as a first place. We have named this and zone this in terms of the very full F&B facility. Some kind of you're having a sky lounge when you go up to some of the boutique hotel yourself and see a lot of different cuisinery in the different pot. When you just go to the hotel, you have probably different, you have Peranakan, you have the Japanese restaurant, you have a lot of the different restaurants to choose over the rooftop bar. So we are bringing that concept into our project. So it's kind of you got a full loaded of the facility of F&B up there. You just imagine that you also get the setting as at the backdrop of Bukit Timah forest. Is that very beautiful? So the setting of this linear is give you a very optimatic views of the Bukit Timah mountains. So it's like very panoramic. And but that with that facility, we spread the activity into the left to the right, so you don't actually cluster in one area. So to spread out the loaded of the people who actually functioning in this, and together with the big panorama views of the Bukit Timah. So they got teppanyaki, they got barbecues, they got a nice lounge to sit as well to look over the view. It doesn't mean that you need to cook, but you got to go up there. There's something like a very nice setting and calm views over there. It's the same thing. Is a horizontal concept is come to the picture that you want to just lay your Bukit Timah mountain in the linear way when you go up to the skyline. Yeah, that is how we planning the facility and the skyline with the pavilions up there. Just want to highlight a bit how we are approach Verdel in terms of the development scale. Right? So, of course, in Bukit Timah context, there's a lot of the project which is being different in terms of the scale. So, I think at least we got to know what exactly are we doing in the product line. Right? We got to do something very tangible, okay, very unique. You got to design for some certain way, which is how to be a bit more sensible. At the same time, got the character by itself. So we can't swing around with the concept. We have to be very, very determined on what we're doing. That's why we are coming back to the design senses and bring the whole thing up to the whole theme of the project. Second thing that I want to highlight about this boutique development, we are like to approach this project in terms of the project intimacy, right? The intimacy, luxury. Okay, and that too is very standpoint of the boutique development that we are carving in the Verdel. Okay, with that senses and the scale of the project, we can boost up and bring this to the next level of the design kind of character I think the product of this Verdel could be a bit more polite in terms of the expression. Aggressive, polite, solid, and we must know what we are doing. So somehow, with that extent, calmness and intimacy is the part of the important thing we want to bring into this development, because this is what the big scale project can offer to you, right? So we got to focus to this and crystallize this and make it more powerful, right? More tangible, right? This is a good selling point for our job in terms of the concept expression. Let me talk about the tone and manner a little bit on this project. If you go a bit closer and more detail of the definition of this, we are actually don't have to talk much about a lot of design language in this kind of boutique development. Refinement of the texture we choose, the material we select, okay, the space we carve. Okay, all the thing is got to be very sensible, and probably it's got to be very thoughtful before we are getting into the refinement of this detail to get this small slim calmness. It's not easy to do something which is boutique. With something is you got to be focused on the detailing, and you got to know what are you doing. Probably you will get the very rich details, the material that we used, texture, everything got to be very right. Let me talk about the forest bathing a little bit. Okay, is the main spine of this is about how we balance ourselves, how we live with the nature and connect to the nature. The art of the forest bathing is how we are balancing and bring all the senses back to the nature. Okay, it's all about mastering the perfect balance of the nature to the senses. That must be a core of the project. Okay, that's why we talk about different senses over the places, and we got to complete the chapter from 1 to 10.